Hi, welcome to another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV. I'm Mike Yannessa, and we're in my showroom at 525 East High Street. My business is Wheels in Motion, formerly Dame Chevrolet. We always have a lot of things going on here at the shop, so stay tuned and we'll see what's happening this week on Car Stories. Now, many of my viewers know me. I grew up in Pottstown. This year is starting my 38th year in business, believe it or not, and 4 years at this location on High Street. And this beautiful showroom has had hot rods in it, classic cars, cars on display, and cars for sale. Right now we're loaded. We got 4 cars in here, and we're going to start with this beauty right here. This is a 93 Caprice. If you saw the other episodes, I had an Impala SS and I had a 38 Chevy. They all belong to my friend Al. I sold both of those cars, and this is the last one. We stripped and painted this about 6 years ago, and we did it his way. He wanted the pinstripes on it. He wanted the wheels. The wheel wells are actually painted maroon. He was a fanatic with cars, so this was stripped. We shaved off the emblem on the trunk, tinted the windows, new ball joints, new brakes, new water pump. Yes, it has 130,000 miles on it, but it's immaculate inside and out. It was sold here new, and Al bought it from when the guy traded it in. It's a 93 Caprice. So if you know anybody looking for a good car to have fun with, the asking price is $59.95. It's here at 525 East High Street. Stop in and check it out. How about this one? A 2015 Jeep Limited Renegade. Only 13,000 miles. This is my old friend Butch. I've known him for years. He has 2 cars, and they want to get down to 1. He bought this 2 years ago, and they just don't use it. It's immaculate. There's nothing, no nicks, no dents. Well maintained 2015 Jeep. 21.5. If you know anybody looking for a good 4-wheel drive Jeep Renegade loaded, it's here at Wheels in Motion. Stop down, make an offer, and I'll present it to the customer, and you might have yourself a $27,000, $28,000 vehicle for a $7,000, $8,000 savings. So 2015 Jeep Renegade. One of the things I talk about on the show is service. You got to keep these new cars serviced. A lot of times people just think it's an oil change and when it breaks. Honda, I worked for Honda back in the 70s, and Subaru, and a lot of the foreign manufacturers were way ahead of the American ones on scheduled maintenance and service. So that's important today. You spend a lot of money for these vehicles, and it's better to spend a couple $100 here and there than to get hit with one large bill when something really breaks. So this Honda, we've only worked on it for about 2 years, but I have a stack of service records that this car was serviced from new at the Honda dealer every interval. Believe it or not, it's an 06 Honda Civic. Has 150,000 miles on it. These people live in Coventry, and they do a lot of travel in the Ocean City. Unbelievably clean, and we're going to get a shot of the interior in a moment. 06 Honda Civic, $66.95. Come down again, check it out. If you know anybody looking for a good Honda Civic, these things run forever, but the key is keeping them maintained. Okay, last one in the showroom is an 02 Corvette convertible, automatic. 16,000 miles, immaculate condition, bought here new, asking $24,900 or best offer, 1 owner, just a really nice car, and spring's right around the corner, so you need a convertible. We had another one in, a red one, and that one sold. That one was a 2000 stick shift car loaded with only 2,200 miles, and that one sold pretty quick. This one's not going to last long either because of the mileage and the condition. So if you know anybody looking for a Corvette convertible, send them down to Wheels in Motion. So we have the cars in the showroom, we have a couple out back, and I have a list here in front of me of cars for sale, some classic. I have a 2000 Camaro, a 2010 supercharged Camaro. There's a Monte Carlo out back, high mileage. It's like a $1,500, $1,800 car. So if you know anybody looking for, a little beater, it's in good shape, but it just has the high mileage on it. And I have a couple here. Fred Spezio, he's a local guy. A lot of you guys know him. He has this really cool old Chevy here for sale, 38 Chevy. And he also has an 86 El Camino. I hope I'm right on the years because I lost the paper that Fred gave me. But these are two cars that are very clean. This one has low mileage, showroom condition. So if you're looking for a super clean El Camino with like 22,000 miles, I believe, I'm not sure, but come down here and I'll give you Fred's number and you can call him. A lot of times people just stop in and they'll do this. They'll leave me pictures and they'll leave me a sheet, or they'll tell me, hey, if you know anybody looking for a car. I had a customer a few weeks ago that had a 2013 ZL1 Camaro. He stopped in, and convertible, by the way, and only had 1,700 miles on it. And he sold that, and then he had a 68 Z28, and he sold that. I never got a chance to sell them, but a lot of times people come in and just give me the name and their phone number, and I'll pass it on to anybody that's looking for a good car. So if you have any cars for sale, or if you're interested in need for any cars for your kid or a classic car, stop in and talk to me. Okay, so you've seen some cars for sale out in the showroom. We've talked about some others that aren't here. Right now we are crazy with classic car service. So if you need your classic car serviced, you have to make an appointment because we are running way behind on getting them on the road. I think what happened was in February we had that nice weather and everybody got the idea a little early, which is good. I always tell people, don't wait till May, get them done early. Right now the shop is full. We have a small waiting list. So if you have a classic car that needs brakes, tune up, just an inspection, make sure you get in here and set up your appointment. And I'm going to talk again a little bit about insurance claims. A lot of people liked the information I shared about insurance companies, and it's amazing that a lot of people don't know some of the things. Like, we still get a lot of people that said, I called my insurance company and they told me to go get 3 estimates. That is not the way it's done anymore. Why should you take time out of your busy schedule to go get 3 estimates and they pick the lowest one? Because ultimately the insurance estimate is the one they're going to go by. So say you go get one for $700 and you go get one for $900 and you get one for $1,100, then they're going to come out, look at the car and write one for $650 or $950. It's just not done that way anymore. Years ago, people would look at a car and say, it's $300. It's not done that way. We subscribe to a very sophisticated computer system. People will ask me because, they'll say, oh, well, you must know. I don't know how long it is to take a bumper off of a Mercedes. It could be 15 minutes or 8 hours. It's just not that simple anymore. So we look it up in the computer system and it will tell us a half an hour for removing the headlight, a half an hour for removing the bumper. It's very, very legit. And every shop should have an estimating system if they're a legitimate shop, not somebody that says I can fix it for $300. Because let's do it this way. If you go to someone that says that, they're going to put the car back together improperly just to stay within the estimate. Now, you pay a lot of money for these cars. You want them fixed right. So an estimating system breaks it down. If you happen to get a cheaper estimate, it's because maybe they used a used door, or they substitute, or they forgot to put something in. I've had that. Where they'd forgot. It was like, well, you were 1,000 and this guy's only 700. That's because he didn't add for a new hood, So just a little thing, like I said, we still get it here. Nick gets it. Nick, my son, does all the estimating up front. And I just want you to know that the way it's done today, the insurance company, the body shop, they all have the same computerized estimating system, and it's broken down into minutes. And that's the correct way to do an estimate, not some figure that you pull out of your hat like we used to. So, and I know a lot of people still come in with that. They told me to get 3 estimates, and it's just, don't do that. You let them come out and look at it, or let us write you a free estimate here at Wheels in Motion. So, a little bit on insurance companies. Last month I didn't do it, or last month we didn't have any new car stories, but I did do a show with Dan and Kendra from Motormouth, the Boardtown Museum. So make sure you tune into that one on PCTV. They were here at the shop, and we talked about some of the things going out in the shop, and it was a pretty good show. So if you know anybody that has a car story, tell them to come in. I mean, there's plenty of racing history in this town. I always ask for stories about cruising High Street, and if you know anybody, don't be afraid. Don't be that you don't want to be on TV. It's real easy. It's fun. I've had a few good guests that make the show very interesting. So if you have a car story or you know one, make sure they stop in and see me here at Wheels in Motion. So everybody knows that I'm a Camaro nut. And this year is the 50th anniversary of the Camaro. So I have this book here. It's a Super Chevy. And on the cover is this over-the-top white Camaro. A big thing today is to take the old car bodies and make them modern. Put them modern, like that Corvette out in the showroom has an LS1 in it. They'll put an LS1 and a 6-speed and air conditioning and rack and pinion, and they build them. This car I actually saw at SEMA. Remember what I told you as I was out at SEMA in Las Vegas? This was the show winner. And what they do to these cars is unbelievable. The thing that it is, though, it takes a lot of money. And a lot of people don't understand that it takes a lot of cash. It adds up. 500 here, 5,000 there. All of a sudden, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can't build a car like this on a tight budget. You have to have, good money. It's just over the top as far as the accessories. The door handles were shaved. You can see pictures there of the car, details. Just really, really neat. It's funny that the cars come, look at the underside, look at the oil pan, the transmission pan. I mean, hundreds and thousands of man hours. So the Camaro's 50 years old, and today they're taking a bunch of original Camaros from the 60s and spending big money on them and making them what they call pro touring. We had one here, and we had two in the shop that we actually built. And like I said, it is expensive, especially when you add all the bells and whistles. I always say it this way: when you go buy a new car, if you want all the features, it's going to be $40, $50. If you can do without some of the leather and sunroof and that, it will be cheaper. But these cars are just amazing. Look at that shot there in the back. The wheels, the tires are probably $7,000, $8,000 just for the wheels and tires. So the Camaro turns 50, 1967. There's a 69. But what I wanted to show you, some of the cool early prototype pictures. That's a 67 RS Z28. They only made 602 67 Z28s. This is a lot like my friend Bill Clemens' car, but it's a rally sport. It has hideaway headlights. He was on our show about 2 years ago. So check it out. On the internet, we have all our shows of car stories on the PCTV network. You can watch all the shows going back to 2012. And Bill, like I said, has a car just like that, but it's not the hideaway headlights. But what I wanted to show you some of the prototype pictures of when they were designing the car. Originally, it was called the Panther. The Camaro name came in later, and it was built in '64. There it is right there. That's the Panther. Looks pretty close. That's one of the prototypes that was built on a Chevy 2 chassis. This car here was looks almost like a Buick Riviera. That was the 1964 New York Auto Show, and then it was called the Panther. There's a skeleton. It's pretty neat how they made that, and it looks like a '67 Camaro, but this is way back in 1964. And because they came out with the Chevelle and Corvair and a couple other models, they kind of put the Camaro on the back shelf. Well, everybody knows what happened. Ford came out with the Mustang, and then they started working on the Camaro, but it wasn't until '67 that they actually released it. So the Panther, Camaro, they go way back into the early '60s. There's another cool shot. And this one, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but right on the fender, there's actually a little Panther, And they changed it to the Camaro because all Chevrolet's models begin with a C. They actually were going to call it the Chevette, but they didn't. They called it the Camaro because it meant good friend or pal, and that's the name that it stuck with. Really good article. This is Super Chevy. I believe it was a couple months ago. It's February. Neat book. Some pictures up there. I saw, again, out at SEMA, and it was at Carlisle, the serial number 1, gold 6-cylinder Camaro. It was the first one to roll off the assembly line. And it's a really good story with it. Like, it lived for years as a race car, and then somebody found it and restored it back to original. And then there's some through the years, 71 Camaro, 82 Camaro, 93. Are we getting this, Gus, okay? Yep. So, like I said, I had one of them. I had an 82 pace car that I bought here brand new, and I had a 93 pace car that I bought at Rothrock down in the city. And at the time, it was a really state-of-the-art car. It's a little loud with the stripes on it and stuff, but what a neat car. And then, of course, there's the 6th generation, the new Camaro, the 2016 ZL1. Awesome, awesome car. I didn't get one of them yet. I was looking at one a couple months ago, but no, not yet. Now I want to show you one more thing in here, see if you guys remember this. I have the slot car of it. They only made 11 of them. They were supposed to be produced, and they didn't make it. The Cheetah. Does anybody remember that? Never mind the girl there. Look at the car. But it was a prototype car in the mid-60s. It was supposed to compete with the Cobra and the Camaro. The problem is a street version was $7,500 and the race version was $12,000. And to put that in perspective, a Cobra with a big 428 Ford motor in it was like $6,000, and a big block Corvette was less than $6,000. And these cars were very basic. There was no bling to it, no comfort. You can see the picture of the interior there is very, basic. Has a Corvette fuel-injected motor in this one. They made 11 of them. I'm not sure. There's a few left. I'm not sure if all of them have been found, but quite a few of them have been found. And like I said, I have a slot car of it. That's the Cheetah. And again, during the time of the Camaro, the Mustang, this was another one that just never got built. So on the other shows, I talked about magazines, old magazines, new magazines. It's really interesting to pick these up. I don't get much time to read, but when I do, I had to read that one because it's about my favorite car. And it's kind of cool to look back in time. Back in the 60s and the late 50s, to give you an example, in the late 50s, early 60s, General Motors had like 6,000 designers. Nowadays, they have about 100. It's all done with computers and drawing. Back then, they made full-size models out of sticks and clay. Now they do it all on a computer. So they don't need 5,000, 6,000 designers. They have a handful of guys that, work the lines and the styles out on a computer screen instead of working them out. One of the stories I always like to tell is like Harley Earl. Harley Earl, behind his office, had his own little design room, and in his spare time, that's where he designed the 53 Corvette. It's like top secret. That's pretty much gone now. They do it all on computer and on CAD, and then they will build a prototype, but it's done more now, not so much hands-on. It's more or less a picture and image. So anyway, everybody knows that I'm a Camaro person, and everybody knows about Big Red, my favorite Camaro that got hit this summer, and it's in bad shape. Let's go back in the shop, and I'll show you what's going on back there, and we'll take a picture of Big Red. You won't recognize it. Okay, I told you wouldn't recognize it. This was once a shiny red Camaro, and now what's basically left is the rear frame rails and the roll bar. I had the suspension done by Ed Quay Race Car years ago, in 1985, and I kind of beat the fender wells in to get bigger tires on it. Now, we have the opportunity now to do a Detroit Speed mini tub. Here's the mini tub. It adds 2.5 inches of tire clearance. This goes on the inside, and the stock outer wheelhouse goes on the outside, and you can fit up to a 14.5 inch wide tire. So that's one of the reasons we cut it apart this far. The main reason was, believe it or not, through the accident, both of the frame rails got kinked. That's how hard this thing was twisted. And the only way to fix these frame rails is to remove the taillight panel and pull on them. Well, you're moving the taillight panel, which was all full of Bondo, And in 1985, Ed Quay patched the floor in the trunk because you couldn't buy a floor in 1985. So this is how it always starts with a restoration. Well, while I'm here, I might as well put a taillight panel on it. I might as well put a trunk floor in it. And some of it wasn't my choice. I had to do this to fix the frame rail. So right now, Jeff has it ready. The frame rails are measured. You can see how flimsy they are, though. There's not much holding it. And he's cleaning off all the old welds, and he's going to put a new trunk floor in it. So, and the mini tubs. So Big Red is not looking too good right now, but it's going to be better than ever when it's done. Everybody knows, if they watch Car Stories, Eastwood is one of the sponsors, and Eastwood has this product called Rust Encapsulator, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Excuse me. So that's what we're going to use on the frame rails, and it's real simple. You just spray it on, and there it is, it's black. They have other colors. You spray it on, and it encapsulates the rust and keeps it from spreading. So inside of here, the outside will all be hit with Eastwood Rust Encapsulator. It's available in spray gun form or spray cans. They also have straws where you can actually shoot it down into the rockers and some of the places you can't get to. But because we have the car so far cut apart, we can get to it with a spray can. So Big Red on the frame machine. It's leveled out on the frame machine, so the whole thing is square. And here's the outer rocker, the inner rocker. The trunk floor is on the other side of the car. We're getting there. A product that Eastwood just gave me to try, and you should look into, is their new buffer. Remember I did a few months ago that Italian buffer, the Roops? This is a knockoff of the Roops. It's an oscillating buffer. It doesn't go around in a circle. It goes back and forth. It's about $100. I think it's $89 or $99. They're on sale, I think, for $89 right now. Really nice buffer, and also it's a sander. You can put a sanding disc on here and sand. So check it out at Eastwood. They're right here in Pottstown on Shoemaker Road. Of course, if you're out of town, you can order it, mail order, and have it shipped. But if you're within a decent driving distance, stop at Eastwood. They have a bunch of stuff to make restoring cars easier. So just wanted you to check that buffer out. So, you know, this is a Jeep that we just painted here at Wheels in Motion in the booth. You get one or two pieces of dirt, but you don't get a lot because you're painting in a nice, clean environment. And I might have showed this before, but this is the Roops mini buffer that works on a similar, like the Eastwood one, but it's battery operated, no cord. And when we get a little piece of dirt, we'll sand it out. Right here was one. And then you take this stuff, and there's no slop with this. It doesn't fly all over and get the windshield dirty because it doesn't rotate, it just oscillates, okay? So just take that, and you buff that one spot right there. Instead of dragging out the big buffer and spattering the whole windshield and buffing the whole hood, we only buffed that one spot where there was a little piece of dirt. This is a medium pad with a medium compound, and then there's a rougher pad with a rougher compound. But that's it. Now you just get a rag, wipe it off, and you're good to go. We really pride ourselves on turning out a high quality product here, whether it's a classic car or your new car. We go the extra mile and make the things look like better than new, or they'll never know they were hit. That's our goal, is to make the cars look really nice. So beautiful Jeep here that we just got done painting, and it's ready to go. This one's my car, 1948 Fleetline Aero Coupe. It was on a couple shows. It's coming along nice. I had it out to Joe Somnick's, and he put a new headliner in it, patched up the back seat, maybe some kick panels, and now I'm putting carpet in it. But what I wanted to show you, it's like these old cars are just so cool. Anybody know what that is right there? That's a heater under the seat. So nowadays you have a heater core and a fan. In these days, there was a heater under the seat. You hit one switch, that blue heat. There's actually a chute that goes that way that I didn't put on yet. And then there's a separate heater core under the dash for the defroster. So it's two separate systems, it's not one. And it's really cool, and it really works good. I actually drove the car over there, and it makes some heat. So there's a fan, there's heater hoses and antifreeze running under the car back to a heater core. One switch heats the car, the other switch turns on the defrosters, two separate systems. Kind of neat in 1948. You don't see that anymore. So she's coming along good. I redid the dash. I have to put the radio in it yet. I put the new steering wheel on it. Cleaned up the door panels. Mechanically, it's in pretty good shape. I've just got to finish that carpet, put the seats back in, and we'll be cruising this summer in a 1948 Fleetline. Very rare car. I might have said this before. They made a bunch of these. Like, this was the biggest seller in 1948. They made 212,000 of them. But for some reason, not many survived. I don't know if they rusted away. I don't know, they weren't worth anything and everybody scrapped them. This one is very solid, no rust, the body supports, the floor supports, and that's what you have to look at when you're in the market for a classic car. How rusty is it? How many new body panels were put on it? Was it done properly? So if you're out looking for a classic car and you need some help, come see me. I'll try to steer you in the right direction so you don't spend too much money on a car that's been patched up. So 1948 Fleetline, I can't wait to cruise it. Well, that about wraps it up for another episode of Car Stories here on PCTV. Here's something that is new at PCTV. We now have our own TV channel called the Car Stories channel. It's going to be on PCTV's website and also our website. And it'll have every show that I ever did in a timeline. And it's a really cool thing. We'll have commercials on it, we'll have different things, information, and you'll be able to sit back and watch in order all the shows that we've done on PCTV. And don't forget, if you have a business, call Gus. Get a commercial time during the sporting events, or maybe you want to do your own show or have your own TV channel. So again, Car Stories channel on the internet, check it out. Thanks for tuning in tonight to Car Stories. I'm Mike Yannessa. I can't wait for spring. I know you can't either, and I'll see you again next month.